Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. I'm so happy to be with you today. My name's Renee. Let go of the stress you hold, let go. Let go of the anger deep down in your soul. Life is just a series of moments connected in a string of beautiful moments. So go ahead, kick your shoes off. It's all right, we'll turn our phones off. Rest upon my soft pillow, and I will pet your head. You have everything you need right now. Relax. You have everything you need right now. Relax. Life is just a series of moments connected in a string of beautiful moments. And it's our choice in the moment how we spend it. You can laugh, you can fuss, or you can just sit. But if you choose to focus on the bad, be it irritated, cold, or mad, then you lose another moment that you can't get back. So go ahead, kick your shoes off. It's all right, we'll turn our phones off. Rest upon my soft pillow, and I will pet your head. Hey! So go ahead, kick your shoes off. It's all right, we'll turn our phones off. Rest upon my soft pillow, and I will pet your head. Hey! All you have to do right now is just sit back and feel the moment. All you have to do right now is just sit back and feel the moment. All you have to do right now is just sit back and feel the moment. All you have to do right now is just sit back and feel the moment. So, go ahead, kick your shoes off. It's all right, we'll turn our phones off. Rest upon my soft pillow, and I will pet your head. Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville on this, what's looking like a warm day. I'm going to say it's going to be a warm one. I was up with my family in Branson this past week, and thankfully a lot of shade, but it was warm. I rode 2 children's rides at Silver Dollar City, which was plenty. That teacup spins really fast. It's for the kids. My name is Gene Vinzant. I'm a longtime member, and I'm a leader of the Chalice team, which is our group that organizes Sunday services. So if you want to volunteer or have suggestions, I'm always happy to hear those. We know that the people here who come here come from different places, different beliefs, different backgrounds. We hope that here you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love. If you are brand new, we invite you to fill out a white visitor's card, which you will find on the seat back in front of you. You can put that in the offering basket later, just to get you on our email list. If you're visiting us for the first time online, welcome. And you can go to our website and fill out a visitor card, actually. Later in our service, we'll have a time of joys and concerns. So there are yellow cards on the seat back in front of you. And you don't have to fill out a card. Most people, in fact, come and just drop a stone representing a joy or concern. But if you want to fill out a card and share something, a high, a low, something major that's happening in your life, we invite you to do that, and you can bring those up later in the service. Indicate if you want them shared publicly or not on there. And online, you can share those in the comments. Let's see, children, I don't see any little bitties, but if you happen to find one and decide they need to be in the nursery, there is a nursery downstairs. It's one of the old classic church bloopers in the bulletin. It said, if you have children and don't know it, we have a nursery downstairs. They put the comma in the wrong place. So, we are thrilled today that Sue Coppernoll will be speaking for us. She wrote her own introduction. She said, Gene, here's exactly what I want you to say. Sue Coppernoll is a longtime member of this fellowship. Period. Also today, we have a special musical, I hate to say performance, a musical number. Doug Kruger, we've heard Doug speak, but Doug also is a singer. And so we're looking forward to that and appreciate you joining us for that. This past week was Juneteenth, and it commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and issued this statement. This is part of the statement. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. The news spread. Of course, slavery didn't legally end until the adoption of the 13th Amendment in December of that year. And I wish I could say, that his statement came true. An absolute equality has existed ever since June 19th in Texas and in Arkansas and in Michigan and in California. But as we all know, it's been a difficult road, and the struggle continues. I am glad that we celebrate Juneteenth. And I heard an interview this week on Ozarks at Large, interviewing some African-American leaders in our community, and the interviewer said, now, is this just a holiday for black people? And they said, oh, no. If you value freedom, Juneteenth should be as important to you as the 4th of July. It's our second Independence Day. And so we celebrate that freedom, but today also we recognize that the struggle for true equality continues. And so, in that spirit, we invite you to join in with us today, and Fawn Smith will light our chalice.
Good morning. If you would like, please say the words on the screen. They're also in your order of service with me as we light the chalice and enter into a sacred time. Love is the spirit help one another. Thus do we covenant together.
Thank you, Fawn. Thank you. Friends, this week has been General Assembly, the big meeting of our denomination's governing body, and it has ripped my heart open and sewn it back up 5 or 6 times. Kate Kowalski and I have been privileged to represent you at GA this year, and so in that spirit, I thought our opening hymn could be the UU National Anthem, Spirit of Life. All rise as you are able in body or spirit as we sing this song. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, y'all. I've sung that song so many times, and today is the first time that I noticed the lyrics, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice, which kind of makes me think about the importance of social justice being an action. Today's book is called Goodnight Racism, and it was written by Ibram X. Kendi, and he wrote Stamped, a couple of books that come to mind readily. Stamped is one, and How to Be an Anti-Racist, which some of us participated in a really cool virtual book study during COVID. It was really impactful. So he also wrote some kids' books, Anti-Racist Baby, and then it sounds like he might have a new one. Okay, he's a prolific author for adults and kids, smart guy. This book is called Goodnight Racism, and it's a play on the classic Goodnight Moon, if you're familiar with that one. Different tone, I'll go ahead and tell you. You might guess. Goodnight Racism. Outside the window, peeking down from the night sky, the moon watches over us. She sees kids smiling at dinner tables. And yawning in their beds. But some kids do not have food, do not have beds, because of unfair rules and unjust treatment. The moon sees all kids, whoever they are, wherever they are, and shines her light upon them. The moon wants her light to kiss every child goodnight. The moon delights when every child falls asleep. Because the moon knows when we sleep, we dream. And when we dream, we imagine what is possible, what the world can be. And the moon glows a little brighter, whispering, "Dream, my child, imagine, my child, a new world, a new future awaits." A world where all people are safe, no matter how they look. How they worship. Or how they love. Sounds so simple, huh? A world where all kids have the same chance to have peace, to have joy, to have a childhood. A world where all people breathe fresh air and have what they need to feed their minds and bodies. A world where our rules open doors, open minds, and create equity and justice for all. Dream, my child, create, my child. A new world, a new future awaits. Good night, unfair rules. Good night, cruelty. Good night, injustice. Good night, inequality. Good night, hate. Good night, hurt. Good night, racism. Good night. Yeah.
May it be so. It is time for our joys and concerns. And I just got a text from Leanda, which might be a joy or concern for someone. Someone left their keys in RE this morning. So if you're missing your keys, that might be a concern. But the joy is they're close to where you left them. So that's where they are. All right. As a community of people that care about each other, we share our joys, our concerns, our good things that have made our hearts full and happy, and the things that have broken our hearts. So we invite you to share those by coming up and dropping a stone. And as the ripples spread in the water, may you feel the spreading of love and support. If you filled out a card, you can bring that up at this time. If you can't come up, hold it up and someone will come and get it from you. Those online can share their joys and concerns in the comments at this time. Thank you. Thank you. So, first of all, are there any that were shared online, joys or concerns?
We have two. From Leanda, a concern. Kobe would like to drop a stone for the folks in Fortis and their families and loved ones. And from Angie Ford, a joy, wishing everyone love and happiness this week from Denton, Texas.
Very good. So let's drop, do we have stones left? Let's drop more stones. You're ready. All right. First of all, for those joys and concerns, we know there are others that were not expressed. And stones for the joys and challenges we may face this coming week. And let's have a moment of silence and reflection on all of these. 60 seconds. Deep breath. And I want you to know there were some others that were shared or that were turned in that were not to be shared publicly, that there are people going through some struggles and challenges. You never know what other people you encounter are facing. So we need to treat each other with love and kindness, tenderness. This fellowship is supported by the free will offerings of its members and sometimes people who aren't members who want to share with us in what we're doing, and we invite you to do that. We're going to pass the basket, and there are also high-tech ways of sharing through texting or through our website as well. All right. Why don't we play? Can you just play a little background music, and then we'll introduce Doug.
Yes.
We're making. Thank you, Renee. That was a last-minute, audible, if you couldn't tell, call there. But Doug Kruger, and you're going to introduce your song, and then Sue will speak immediately after that. So I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, let's see here.
Right into it.
Okay, everybody can hear me now? Very good. Okay, so I'm going to sing a song along with today's talk, the theme of You've Got to Be Carefully Taught. This song is from the musical South Pacific, and which came out quite some time ago. And so I just want you to know, because it was a different time, I have changed a little bit of the lyrics. Okay, so it was. I see that it was copyrighted in 1949, so that's a while ago, right? So, okay. You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. You've got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose clothes are not tailor-made, and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught.
I am honored to be here with you this morning. For what I have told my 5 senior citizens' children is my last sermon. However, this is not going to be a sermon. It's going to be a story. It's going to be an account of my experiences. I have no answers to this and the other dire problems that are facing our society and the world. Just as I have no answers for the writers in my Writing a Spirituality Practice group, I tell them, I don't have your answers. I don't even have your questions. But what I am about to share with you is from my heart. It's from a mind that developed in severe isolation as a child in a closed home that saw interaction with anybody but other Pentecostal firebrands very dangerous, because the world was where the devil lived, and so I was not allowed to interact with it. I did a lot of observing, and by the time I was 8 or 9, I started to write about it, and I'm still doing that in my spiritual practice today. I'm going to have to adjust this. I apologize. I invite you now to accompany me on my journey through the shark waters of racism in America. Chapter 1 begins in Galveston, where I spent weekends traveling to my grandmother's farm in the piney woods of East Texas. At the city limits of Tenaha and Joaquin, Texas. I had already learned to read by the time I was 4. Books were my world. I read signs at the city limits of these 2 small villages, and they said something like, "Negra, don't let the sun set on your head in our town." I was carefully taught not to use what we now call the N-word, because Negra was so much more pleasant and less offensive, they thought. In Bossier City, Louisiana, when I was not quite 5, an only child, we waited to move into my father's quarters on Barksdale Field. My mother was in deep depression. My father was on duty 10 to 14 hours a day as a line chief for a squadron readying Flying Tiger aircraft for shipment to Chiang Kai-shek's nationalist war with his brother-in-law, Sun Yat-sen, on the Communist front. Many Americans don't realize that one of the strongest impetus for that war in China was rival between 2 young Chinese sisters who were sent to Wesleyan University here in America, developed fierce rivalries and went home, one to marry a nationalist politician, another to marry a communist politician, and the war still rages. I had already become a social isolate, forbidden relationships even with children of unsaved ones. Occupying myself, I hid beneath the leaves of a large fig tree in our backyard when not exploring my surroundings. I spotted a group one day, children on a vacant lot, playing games down the block. I joined them. I was welcomed into Ring Around the Rosie, Pocket Full of Posies, and London Bridge is Falling Down. This was a brand new experience for me. My mother's angry voice intruded on our joy. "Willie Fay," my birth name, she screamed as she pulled me from the group by my arm and dragged me back down the sidewalk into our yard. "Get over yonder and break me a switch from that bush," she yelled. My legs can still feel the sting of that punishment. The children were black. I asked, "What did I do? What's wrong?" I was given a Bible lesson. I apologize for falling in and out of my early dialect. I spent a lot of time in college as an English and speech major recording my voice on a tape recorder so that I could marry a Yankee. And I didn't know what a Yankee was. I did marry a Midwesterner, and he was a pretty good substitute. Okay, this is the Bible lesson that I got that day, just before I went to kindergarten. And one of many like it that I received in the 15 years that I was in my parents' home. God told Ham, the youngest son of Noah, she said, that he was cursed through eternity for looking on his Father's nakedness, punished by black skin and doomed to exile and slavery. Noah was celebrating getting off the ark by having a party, wouldn't you? He became, the Bible says, drunk with much wine and stumbled around naked. I recently read a coming-of-age memoir by a young Indonesian 20-something male who was banished from his family and his village for a similar indiscretion. Myths last, and they become pseudo-reality for people who then perpetuate them. So, for the first time in quite a few years, I took up my Bible and I read that account. First of all, there is no mention of black skin. Now, who added that? I don't know any religious leader that I've ever met in my long journey through trying to find this place who would admit that they added black skin to what I was told was Ham's punishment. What the Bible really says is that Ham was told by God, your children are cursed for eternity to be slaves and serve their cousins, the children of Noah's youngest sons. Okay, in 1943, my dad, Master Sergeant Kelly, got 3 assignments to Army Air Corps bases that were barely under construction. While in Mississippi, he responded also to his call to preach in the Assembly of God Church, holding his first revival. People of color were allowed, not exactly invited, to sit on the cold February ground in northern Mississippi in February to hear the purported gospel of Jesus Christ. Okay, just a minute. Let me see where I left off there. The church that I was forced to attend I was often the only one under age 40 because my father called himself a home missionary. Today, many denominations and even the Catholic Church practice what's called church planting. My participation, except long, boring weekends, was that I was required to go to Bible study every Thursday evening, and it feels and seems like today that what we did was study the book of Revelations over and over and over. Public schools, by the way, were my salvation. Entering high school at age 11, I was more confused than ever. I watched black children wait by the side of the road for a battered Model T truck with a wooden cage-like construction on its back take them to their one-room, unpainted schoolhouse. Waiting on the other side of the asphalt road. I rode in shiny new school buses to a brick consolidated school. The children and I stared at each other across the road, or pretended that we weren't there. We never dared to cross the invisible and impenetrable color line on the road between us. My parents hired a young female teacher from the black school to stay with my sisters and I. My mother had 2 other daughters in an attempt to replace her one son, who had died when I was 3. He was 7 and had died of a heart attack falling onto my lap in the back of our 35 Plymouth on the way to the East Texas farm. Mary Bell was this teacher's name. My parents went to Savannah to conduct a revival. Mary Bell brought with her for study that weekend a worn chemistry textbook. She was responsible for all science studies at the black school. Her students had no textbooks. I was instructed to break her bowl after she'd eaten and to burn the U.S. Army issue on which she'd slept. Central Florida, after World War II ended, was a whole new world for me. There I met classmates from the East Coast and the Midwest who'd never attended a segregated school. I did not know then, but learned in the next few years that they had no relationships with those black children. They simply shared classrooms. I was chosen by Dr. Helen Holt, the Citrus County School Superintendent, on her tours of black and white schools for which she was responsible. The disparities in habitat and facilities were clear and heartbreaking. Dr. Holt confined me to sitting in the car as she inspected the black schools, in certainty that allowing me to cross that color line threshold would endanger her position and send her back to Ohio, where she held an endowed chair at a university. Off to college at 15, I joyfully made my escape. With due diligence, my parents had found the all-white, all-Protestant, all-female haven for husband hunters. Andrew College in Cuthbert, Georgia. It's about 70 miles from Plains. And I was taught to talk a lot like Rosen, very softly. And I was also taught by my choir instructor at Andrew that a lady never says an R, that is, in the alphabet. The biggest claim for that school was that up to 40% of our graduates marry Methodist and Presbyterian pastors, become Sunday school teachers, and most of them church organists. Well, in a Pentecostal church, I had been forced to be the pianist after very few music lessons. I learned to play syncopated music. A little boy across the street from us said, "Susie, I hear y'all play boogie-woogie at your church." So playing a large, fancy pipe organ in a Presbyterian or Methodist church had no appeal to me whatsoever. Andrew And I think the world should pay a little attention to this with what's going on right now in the crisis in the Methodist Church. Andrew was founded by a bishop of the Methodist Episcopal Church. He split John Wesley's church into the Methodist Episcopal Church North and the North Methodist Episcopal Church South, a division which lasted almost 100 years. We were taught to revere, to worship, to nod courtesy, or genuflect under his portrait. A new schism is occurring in Methodism. The reunification into United of the 40s ceased when a new civil rights issue led Methodists to secede rather than accept, much less welcome, the LGBTQ community. For me, that was deja vu all over again. Here I want to give a shout out to our congregant. If I can get her name up in my aging brain, Kathy Benton. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation you did on Pride Sunday, especially when you closed with, I had left the Metropolitan Christian Church in Little Rock and come to Fayetteville and was decided to be a Unitarian Universalist, and you guys at that point were an accepting congregation. Thank goodness today you are a welcoming congregation. Kathy, that was an echo of what Nicole Clowney, our representative to the legislative body in Little Rock, told us when she told a story about her relationship with a mentor in her career, in which she was repeatedly reminded to respect anyone means to respect everyone. There is a difference in accepting organization and a welcoming one. Oh, I'm going to have to quit. I'm just going to tell you that there is a chapter in my adulthood. Lots and lots of times, once I was fired from the YWCA for putting black students in the pool, over which there was a sign that said 1973 YWCA from headquarters in New York. Our one priority, elimination of racism by any means necessary. So I invited the director of the Martin Luther King Center across the river on the other side of Freeport, Illinois, who had nothing but an open space, no pool, no tennis court, nothing. I invited her to bring her kids in her rickety old bus and arranged with our pool director, who I was supervising. And after the first visit of those children, I received a letter of dismissal. There were many of those examples, and I'm going to tell you the last reason why this topic is so important to me. Until my husband's death 3 years ago, he and I were mama and papa to a multi-racial, multicultural large family. We have one African-American granddaughter who my parents, each at the age of 93, refused ever to meet or to have in their home. We have two South African great-granddaughters who are facing a more accepting, but not always welcoming environment in Oklahoma City. And we have a 9-year-old fully enrolled in the Lakota Nation, Native American great-granddaughter on the reservation in South Dakota. I did not plan to become any kind of activist. I simply made decisions along my life's path to do the right thing as I could figure it out to the best of my ability. Thank you very much for hearing.
Please stay standing. As we sing together hymn number 131. Thank you, Sue. Love will guide us. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greedy to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can change the world from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greedy to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. You may be seated.
What a wonderful, wonderful talk. I wish we had more time. Join me with extinguishing the chalice words, if you would. We extinguish this flame.
Thank you, Sue. That was, I feel like I'd been transported to another place and time. And it is interesting that some things have changed and some things still need to be changed. What gives me hope is the young people
Yes.
that we have here and that I have in my classes, that they're shocked, you know, when I tell them these stories, and they give me hope, though, for the future, that things are changing. All right, our announcements. This has been reformatted, you know. But gender and pronouns workshop today, 12:30 to 3, in the sanctuary. And then a lot of these are regular groups, and you will get your notification if you're on this team or committee. Let's see, Friday, Pride Festival Trans March. So
We want a big turnout for this. We want a big turnout on Friday and Saturday and show our support and radical welcome in the Pride community.
And Saturday, Pride Parade. Enoch. Yes, helping to organize that. Janet, have you got something?
Yes, Rachel and I again have the
Petitions.
For the things that we're trying to get on the ballot in November, so if anyone hasn't had an opportunity to sign those, we'll be out in the foyer.
All right, sign those petitions. And so next Sunday, I guess, is June 30th, right? So it'll be the last, for the summer, the last meeting of religious education, both children and adult.
And And Brandon Weston will be here celebrating summer solstice.
All right, all right. So, and we have a great lineup of 11 a.m. services, so keep coming for that. But it's nice to take a break, I think, for the RE folks. I think it's nice to give the teachers and those a break. So, one more thing, yes.
For the gender and pronouns workshop, you don't necessarily, it's today, so if you didn't register, still come.
Okay, you can still come even if you didn't register. Yeah, I wasn't sure from the way that was worded. All right, great. Thank you all for doing that. All right, thank you again all for being here. Hope you have a great day. Renee will play us out with our sending music.
Thanks for coming, y'all.
Thank you.
There's honey in the morning.